Well, getting started in a new city, trying to find a new group is never easy. My previous groups, I'd always just used social contacts, gone to a local game store or whatever to hook up with new players. But in Seoul, there really isn't a friendly neighborhood game store of any kind. So, this time there was no option but to use the internet. Almost like seeking a mysterious wife from a foreign country is how it worked out. But using meetup.com, we were able to connect with a group, the English role-playing board game group for Seoul. And most of the people in the group are more interested in board games and card games. But we were able to connect with up to 6 people, and we did a one-shot for Call of Cthulhu that had a much larger response. We actually had to turn people away for that, but with the exception of our core group of 5 players, basically most of the people that we met were looking for one-shots or occasional games. But we ended up with 4 or 5 people that we could count on to make regular games, and how much more than that do you need, really? Introducing people to a new system was actually the harder part. It wasn't really meeting them. Just deciding to put yourself out there was enough. But then having a vision, deciding this is the game that we're going to play, this is the way we're going to play it, that's a little bit harder, especially with strangers. So we experimented a bit. I ran a game of Hollow Earth Expedition, made it through a very short story arc, decided that wasn't a very good fit with the personalities that we had, and then we moved into Desolation, and still using the same system. We were very clear from the beginning that this year was all about learning to run one system really well, and rather than experimenting like we had been before, or just being willing to experiment with the system for one-shots or just a couple of short sessions. So with that in mind, with that clear goal that it's going to be ubiquity, it will either be Hollow Earth Expedition or Desolation or All for One, we set things in motion. So, with this particular group, Hollow Earth didn't work out, but Desolation really took off. The other game master in the group, who you'll see in another segment of the podcast, he worked really hard and established a very clear sense of the early days, the before in Desolation, and that made it very easy for me to move in and destroy everything and bring on the depression. We'll be moving into All for One in January, and that's really what my ultimate goal was, to have everybody understand how Ubiquity worked and what it was about through exploring the other 2 game systems, and then really giving it a whirl. So this year's been interesting. Dedicating ourselves to one game system, starting a new group, and then finding our voice in that game. And we work a lot of hours and have very busy lives, families, and all that stuff. And if we can do it, why can't you? Well, the question was, why return to the GM's chair after so long out of it? The member of the group in question hadn't run a game for something like 25, almost 30 years. And after gaming with me for at least 6 years, maybe closer to 10, he finally took it on. So why? I had bought him the Battlestar Galactica game, Cortex. He looked at it, planned out a full campaign, and then didn't run it. He got himself Palladium Fantasy after I had run that for a while, and set up a whole campaign. We went through character generation, played the first 2 scenes, and well, I'm still waiting for what happens. And it's been a while, but Desolation took off. So we'll talk to him in a second. Actually, now we'll talk to him yesterday about his advice for being an older gentleman trying to get back into gaming. And, well, we'll let him speak for himself.
Whenever I've tried this now, the few times I've tried running a game, the problem is, why are these people doing this? Classic situation, I am the great wizard, I need you to find the staff of life. Go. Well, if you're the great wizard, you fucking do it yourself. So why are these people doing this? So I figured that out, and then I nodded onto an idea. Again, latching onto ideas of things that are not canon to the game. But I took a kernel from one of the other characters' reasons to be in the desert in the first place.
Right.
And decided, okay, I'll run with that. And he thinks he's in search of this magic item that does this. Well, we've already established by our sense of game playing that he was playing a necromancer and didn't understand the way the magic system worked in this game and what necromancy was. He was thinking of death magic and things, and it's not that, it's just transfer of life power. So it didn't work the way he wanted to. So I decided I'll take the magic item that he thinks he's searching for and give it completely different powers than he thinks it has, and say, you've been misguided all your life, this is what it really does, aha, and led to something going on. So the necromancer, of course, was creating this vast army of zombies and skeletons, not to take over the world, but basically to dig in a mine. And it's as simple as that. And I built, and I actually had it on my sheet. I wish I'd brought it with you. I had the sheet with me that said, "Do not fuck with me, NPC." And I made this massive character, again breaking canon by giving him 2 different sets of magic traditions, which you're not really supposed to do, but
again, you can.
You can do it, but I justified it by saying he's a necromancer. He's able to reinvigorate himself, keep himself alive. He lived for 300 years. Yes, he's probably allowed to pick up another tradition. So, made what I consider to be a fantastic, powerful, kick-ass character who you're not supposed to fight. You're supposed to get there, he's supposed to capture you, and then you're going to talk your way to this, and he's going to give you all the clues to this magic item that this guy's looking for, which is only the first step in a series of magic items that's all part of this big long chain. And what happens? The 2 guys sneak in and kick his ass.
I summoned a dragon.
In a 2-story arc, or 2-session arc, the young sorcerer, one of the problems I have with the magic system is the fact that the young sorcerer, who's basically a level 1 character for a system that doesn't have levels, a level 1 character summons a dragon. Now, the rules say at a level 5 or level 6 type spell, a difficulty 5 or difficulty 6 spell, you can create an energy beast.
Right, the energy beast.
That's it. That's all the rules say, create an energy beast. So once we spent half an hour trying to figure out what that actually meant, and what kind of attributes this energy beast could have, which is another whole discussion of how to reinterpret rules.
Right, which was a post on the blog. Yeah.
Which was posted on the blog. You created the energy beast, ripped the sail off the guy's sailing ship, threw it on him so he could no longer have direct line of sight magic, and was therefore at a huge handicap, kicked his ass, and killed him.
Right.
And I sat there and I went, what about the backstory? What about this whole huge backstory? Now you've no idea what you're supposed to be doing here. All right, so I got to find a way to off the seat of my pants trying to figure out how do I introduce this backstory that I've given you.
So you know what you did?
I said the apocalypse.
You did. Rocks fell and everybody died.
Everybody dies. Yeah. No. But I always knew that because we were playing just before the apocalypse could hit at any time. I had set this sometime nebulously in the summer. The apocalypse was sometime in the summer. So if this was going to continue on, I figured I could. I started to get frustrated with the fact that all the stuff that I wanted to show you, how you were supposed to get information from him, possibly even work for him in a way, because the other necromancer was going to be sympathetic to him. And your power-hungry sorcerer would be somewhat sympathetic to this idea of getting cool shit.
Right.
I thought it would be great, but you killed him. And there was really no way to put it forward, so they got into the cave where they were digging up the item, and he figures, oh, there's something really cool here. And I said, suddenly there's this strange rumbling. And you notice that even though it's nightfall, it looks like the sun's rising. Cue the apocalypse.
Cue the apocalypse. Not an option that you can employ all the time.
No, very rarely, I think, can you pull the rocks fall, everybody dies. But we all knew this was coming.
Right.
The whole point of this exercise, though, was to allow, especially magicians, to allow them to be able to do all the cool stuff that magic was able to be done, was allowed to be done in this world. And then when we started playing in the apocalypse, have that all stripped away, so they really feel the loss of what happened. I think that got across. That point got across. Despite our issues with the magic system, people coming from different traditions of gameplay.
Right.
This is a free-form magic system. You describe to me as the GM what you want to happen. I assign a difficulty to it. You make the roll, and then we go from there. As opposed to with the other player that was there, coming from a more D&D type background, he was looking for a spell book. Yeah, I have my spell book. There's no such thing as a spell book. There's no spells so much as you're just channeling energy and making stuff happen. And so there was a disconnect there in that. But I think we kind of got past that a bit. But it was a little bit depressing for me because, again, my first time running a game, seriously running a game, and having to say to a player that I don't really know, "Oh, sorry, can't do that. Oh, no, sorry, can't do that. Oh, great idea, but can't do that."
So, getting back into the GM's chair, and how long had it been since you had actually run a game?
I would have been, I would say, 17, so that would be 25 years?
25
years? I'm lying. 28 years.
28 years, all right. So you bit off a fairly substantial chunk.
Much more than I could chew.
Well, I don't know. We all had a good time.
We had fun, I guess, yeah. There was a lot of time spent going, okay, that's a good idea. Let me check the rulebook. Because I had to go back in and go through stuff. But we didn't know the system as well. No one really knew the system that well.
That's right. So what advice would you have for someone who's, in a new place, hasn't gamed in a while, wants to, doesn't know anybody?
Find a system that's not too difficult, that's not too far outside what you are used to. Don't add to it. Don't decide to go outside the canon and say, I know the game system doesn't allow for this, but I'm going to do that. If you're playing with people you don't know, then be yourself, be honest to what you want to do, but ad-lib the campaign as necessary, but don't ad-lib the rules. Don't ad-lib the setting. That was what I learned.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Thanks.